Good day, Conserving 915 family. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Conserving 915. We are your hosts, Angel.
El pinche Steve is here.
And Ruben.
And of course, Dave.
And, like I said, we'd like to welcome you to another show. On this one in particular, we're going to be talking about some local politics and a few other stories in particular. It's really, really important to get to know the people who are actually representing you,
Or not representing you.
Or, yeah, exactly, not representing you. Like, what are their policies? What do these guys actually do? What are they doing? What kind of stuff are they discussing? What are they using your tax dollars for? I think that's another big one, too, especially nowadays in 2024. I saw a bunch of articles and people being interviewed saying, like, oh, yeah, I was going to buy a house in 2020, and all of a sudden the inflation hit, and what I used to think was a $1,000, $1,200, or $1,200 mortgage payment per month, once it got to closing, it ended up being $2,200 a month.
But they got a...
Dude, that was
literally one of those.
Oh, that was you too?
Yeah.
Like, this was...
I was going to buy a house that year.
There's a bunch of El Pasoans that are like, yeah, I was going to close, and then all of a sudden the price jumped up to $2,200 a month.
But did the minimum wage go up from like $8 to like 20 or something?
Oh, it did.
Even if you figure you could buy a $100,000 house, now you can buy a $300,000 house.
Unfortunately, that's not how the math works.
Oh, no. Oh, no. But you were going to buy a haunted house, so I'm glad you didn't buy it.
Oh, yeah, I was this close.
Haunted
I
house.
felt it calling me, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, I would dream about it, and I would wake up in a cold sweat, and I would say, we have to buy that house. My wife was like, no, you're insane. I'll divorce you. So I decided not to. But I still think about it.
I don't know. If it was a good deal, you probably could have like asked the priest to go bless it.
That's what that was my plan.
Yeah.
Gambino, or what's the guy's name? Bonjani, or what's
Vigano?
Oh, Vigano.
Vigano.
Vigano, the guy that probably can do a master class on exorcisms and stuff.
No, I don't want to see what you could do to a basement, man.
The basement was pretty crazy, though. There was a room at the bottom, and at the basement, it was the wallpaper looked like it was a kids' play area.
Oh yeah.
But there were no lights, and it was in the basement. And then also in the bottom, it was like a mini apartment in the basement area. It looks like they turned it into a room, but the bedroom, the lock was one of those with deadbolts.
Like the skeleton keys?
No, it was a deadbolt, but it was on the outside of the room.
Oh, man. That's
So, yeah, that was a little
Wasn't
weird.
there like hooks like to chain people and stuff? No?
There might have been. It's been a while.
Anyways.
But yeah, my wife would right away. She was like, "We can't buy this," and I was like, "Oh, the possibilities! It's cheap and there's so much space." I was like, "Oh wow, all these things! I can fix it. I can make it. I can make it a home."
David, you can't even tune your guitar, dude. You're not gonna.
But then, yeah,
That's
that my shot that dream down, and then while we were house hunting some more, I realized that, oh my gosh. This is not sustained. Oh my gosh, we cannot do this. We can't buy a house right now, and I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for when the time is right, and it's just not happening.
I don't think it will ever happen because we continue to print money irresponsibly. The government's pretty much a teenager with a credit card with no limit. It's ridiculous. But anyway, why don't we jump into some of these guys?
Talking about those teenagers with credit cards, we have a few of them here in El Paso that represent us. It's not just the mayor. He has a council also that help him make decisions and sign documents.
Well, yeah, now the mayor is just like a figurehead now. Just to he shows up to at like construction sites to put the shovel in. No, that's all he does now. Or he just like stamps. Like an ordinance or whatever. Like, here you go.
Kind of sounds like the King of Spain.
I was about to say it's like the majority of politicians nowadays. They're all being run and operated by a puppet master.
Mm-hmm. But El Paso is separated by a number of districts. Each district is a cut of the pie. And the first one, District 1, would be Brian Kennedy, who, actually, looking into it, he is an independent minded person. He's not affiliated to any political group at the moment.
That's another thing. Being city council, all of these members are supposedly nonpartisan, or at least that's what they all claim to be, in order to make it more, palatable for the voters. Like, oh, there's no divisions here. It's just what's best for the city, no matter their inclination, no matter their political stances. So they're all put in as nonpartisans, which I think it's more, how you call it, it's more insidious, I think.
Well, it's
Because
a double-edged sword, yeah.
you can't tell right away what their leanings are until they start spouting out their, the buzzwords, which is a bunch of these guys. Like, it's very kind of vague, lukewarm, like you were saying earlier. All their campaign website info is super
General.
Yeah.
But the thing with Brian Kennedy, from what I could muster from my research, is that he's not a typical career politician. He has walked many ways of life, and at the end of the road, he decided to become a politician and study law. He's an actual lawyer, and he just decided to run for the District 1 of El Paso. So in that sense, and from what I could hear, he just talks about the numbers, if they make sense or not, because he was a big organizer of sporting events and all that stuff. So he knows about logistics, he knows about the numbers and how to push them in. Okay, it's not just hot
feel
gas
good and feel good.
and feel good words that come out of his mouth, which is why we see him now trying to, which is we're going to talk about later on, about a current plan of renewal of the area here in El Paso, but that's later on. Dark side of him, the only thing I've been able to find is that he was in litigation.
What for?
Apparently, there is an El Pasoan who brought to the attention to the ethic committee that he was abusing his authority. As in, there was a conflict in interest.
Okay.
On his very first day of being sworn in and all that stuff, they were gonna pass a vote trying to work on or trying to push this very proposal that we're going to talk later on, which is the whole
The MCP.
the MCP, multi-purpose community center, and he abstained.
Oh, so okay, he abstained. Why don't you just vote no?
Maybe
Okay.
precisely because of that, because he didn't want, since he's just coming off the board from being, a director of sports committees of organizing events.
Okay,
He felt like it was prudent not to show his hand.
Okay,
And
at least
say-
not yet.
not
Okay,
yet.
so maybe that's not so much a knock on him. He's trying
That's what I was
to,
gonna say. Like maybe he was trying to avoid a conflict of interest. Huh?
like right away, yeah.
Yeah.
And they tried to cut him down, stating it was a conflict of interest.
By
By not
abstaining.
showing
By abstaining,
conflict of
so
Oh
that
my goodness gracious, that's so backwards.
so it's kind of weird. In any case, that is our Brian
So,
Kennedy.
He sounds pretty cool though. Like you say, at least he's a make it make sense kind of guy.
Yeah, basically.
Cool beans.
District 2, unfortunately, is kind of different. He is a Paso bred, born and raised.
That's how you know.
He went through the system. He got his doctorates and his degrees in El Paso Vario University of Texas. So he is nopalero as you can get.
All right, our kind of guy.
Yes, sir.
He's totally based, right?
If he was in my district, I would vote for him just for that reason.
You would or you wouldn't?
I would.
Did I say he went through the university?
Yes.
So Josh Acevedo, his background is basically he was a board of trustees in the PIST, the El Paso School District, and he was there for a few years and saw them push their numbers too. But the only thing that I was able to figure out with El Paso Times here is that his experience in the PIST is basically going through a budget. So he knows how to work a budget.
Okay, so that's a plus.
That's a plus. And apparently he knows how to hire people.
Maybe a plus.
But the big,
What kind of people does he hire?
That's what I was gonna say. How do you quantify that, or objectively say that? I guess you have experience at hiring people, but like good experience. You know?
Yeah, right. Like, what is the turnaround?
I'm not saying that it is. I still have to figure out who's the superintendent he signed off in the approval.
Oh, no.
But we're talking about a wonderful woman who broke the I don't know how many years of tyranny of masculine supremacy in the EPISD as
course.
superintendent. So that's like the badge for him.
He
Because
endorsed a woman.
He endorsed a woman.
He should have gone all the way and just brought a trans woman. That would have been even better.
Which is
I mean,
precisely
if he was-
why I'm
if
so
he-
scared.
If he was really, if he really wanted to break the, was that really his point to get rid of the guys? Or
I hope it's not, because that'd be
Oh.
super shallow.
No.
Instead of just seeing like the qualifications and who's the best and who's gonna like head into progress our school district, which some of us would know there's a lot of working.
Yeah.
To get done.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I'm just really confused because I didn't even read this. You brought this up. Was there something that does it say he was proud of bringing a
He was
woman?
proud of bringing a woman as a superintendent.
And you know what? And I think I'd be proud of bringing the best superintendent.
Yeah.
I mean, of course.
I was about
That,
to say.
that just so
and-
happens to be a woman.
And I don't know anything about the superintendent. She might be an awesome superintendent. I really don't know. But to me, just to be proud of bringing a male or a female or a black guy, a white guy, a brown guy, that's just
Shallow.
You should be proud of bringing in the best
Right.
person for the job.
I think Rob Schneider said it best. You're not gonna hire the best pilots.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I think that applies to any single profession.
and again, I mean, this lady must.
And it's not
She-
knocking any women, of
No,
course
of
not.
course
That's
not.
just like, of course,
Well,
what you said. Who's
the-
the qualification first, and then, oh, look, it just so happens to be someone who.
The smart women know that, David. You know what I mean?
Oh, do they?
Of course it will.
Okay.
Maybe.
Disclaimers, guys. Disclaimers.
Yeah.
The thing is that
You know the thing.
when I was researching this guy, of course, he's on a Paso end. You want to give him like, hey, go
Keeping
for it.
it in
Keep
the-
it in.
The family.
Shoot for it. Yeah. And it was also lukewarm. He tried to like dodge the questions. He was being very neutral. But the thing I really like about this El Paso Times, since we know what El Paso Time is and how it leans towards a certain
Yeah,
way
that's
of
not
thinking.
at all, right?
he actually let it slip out. Like
Right.
after everything I've seen, he slipped out.
Oh, no. He's
So-
not actually a nonpartisan?
No, absolutely not. Because he says that he makes it to a point to give a voice to
Come on,
the
I said, don't let it
underrepresented.
slip out. Yeah.
This guy.
He tries to give a voice and listen to those who are underrepresented. And that's usually words for the left.
Oh, yeah.
And he
That's
doubles down.
Those are the buzzwords, yeah.
And he doubles down by saying, especially the LGBTQX unknown factor.
Oh, my goodness. So that's his purpose. That's his vision.
That's part of
Giving
his vision.
them a voice.
Giving them one more month. The 1 month isn't enough.
Of course.
Maybe.
Apparently. So that is basically the one of his underlying characteristics as a politician is pushing forward an agenda that clearly does not identify the Mexican community,
Well,
Mexican American.
Mexican American or Latinx community.
And I think it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier in the show. All these people who they were kind of hopeful several years ago they were going to buy a house, and all of a sudden they're broke. The cost of living has increased dramatically, and have all these progressive policies like this really made life better for anybody? Like, are more people better off now than they were 10, 15 years ago? You know, it doesn't seem like it. You know,
Does not.
And it's funny because It's part of the program of El Paso. It's in the YouTube channel, and there's 4 principles they're trying to get through the community, which is first and foremost, equity.
Ugh. Inclusion.
Everybody is going to be broke. There's your equity.
Whoa.
And what's the second point after that? It's precisely affordable housing, but that means everything is going to be a housing project.
Of course. That's affordable sometimes, unless you're playing by the rules. Because I know of someone who actually is in housing, and they don't lie about anything. They live, they report everybody that lives in the units. They report the incomes, all according to the rules, and it just so happened to slip out of one of the maintenance guys saying like, "Oh yeah, you guys are like the only ones that don't lie." Everybody says, "Oh yeah, it's just me and my kids," like a single mother, when the husband lives with them, because when they report stuff like that, the rent gets lowered. So the people who are actually being truthful and honest, they get the short end of the stick. They get shafted. Like, oh, actually, it's no different than just renting a regular old 3-bedroom apartment. Housing, there's no help. It's not really any help. It's actually just as expensive, because they're being truthful, and the people who are lying,
But that's the thing, because
they benefit.
It's very well rounded, because they're taking into consideration that all those people who are being honest are actually paying for those who are not being honest.
There you go. You guy or gal, I'm not outing anyone here. You are helping out the community. Cling.
So that's basically all I have on Brian Kennedy and Josh Acevedo at the time. Moving forward, we have...
But okay, what about the streets? What about, trying to get better public services, Nothing like that? It's all about woke stuff with this guy?
Yeah.
So far it looks like.
The only thing that he did share with Brian Kennedy is that that decision to actually look over the proposals, just to make sure that they're accessible, then they're not just some pipe dream or some Ponzi scheme. At least that's my interpretation of their words.
Well, I mean, at the very least. But we see where this guy, Josh Acevedo, we know where his loyalties lie. Although he is listed as a nonpartisan. That's not true.
Well, he went through the University of Texas in El Paso, so...
What else do you expect?
What else do you expect?
Well, I mean, so did I.
Yeah, me too.
So
you guys are diamonds in the rough.
You weren't, indoctrinated? You didn't drink the Kool-Aid?
All right, well,
there wasn't a whole lot of political stuff in chemistry classes,
Well, maybe
that's
not
the
at
worst.
maybe not at that point.
Yeah.
Yes, things have changed, man.
Well, I guess there's gender atoms now, a female atom and a non-gender atom and a male atom.
right.
Well, speaking of which, Oh, by the way, guys, we're really only going to cover districts 1 through 4 now because, it's a bunch of info. We're going to get you guys more on the 5 through 7 or 8. Sorry, 5 through 8 on a later episode. But let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to District 3, right? Who's in District 3?
So up next we have Cassandra Hernandez,
Oh my.
or for our nopalero guy, Cassandra Hernandez.
You gotta make sure
You gotta roll that.
Roll it.
You gotta roll that, baby.
Piss off that nopalero out there.
So on the first article, do you have the first one pulled out?
Oh, no. Right there.
we know how to speak español here.
Who's
So on this first article we have from KBIA.com. El Paso City Rep Hernandez claims she didn't lie when she said she was the only one who used her gas card. So in looking her up, it turns out back in the day, our El Paso representatives were actually issued gas cards to use I don't think there was like a whole lot of rules about like how much they got to spend or whatnot. But
They're trying, like, giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're not gonna
Honor
abuse.
system. Yeah.
There's an
This
honor
isn't
system,
Japan.
right? Come on, man.
Well, I would give him a gas card because I know they don't even believe in gas-powered vehicles. So I'm like, they're not going to use it. They're going to find places to plug it in
Uh-oh.
So, I mean,
I got news for you, Ruben.
So I'm pretty sure they didn't rack up more than $100 bill, maybe, just because they really had to use it. But these guys all use solar-powered cars and stuff. I
Of
think.
course, because they want to make sure that
So-
El Paso is carbon neutral.
And I'd be like, please use a gas card. Use a gas card. And they're like, no, we don't drive cars with gas. You know what I mean?
That is a very good point, Ruben.
So-
I think you speak the truth.
True,
Let's
true.
see if that's true.
So here, according to this article, as a member of the Financial Oversight and Audit Committee, Hernandez voted to approve the audit that found that her gas card was used to spend nearly $6,700 in 2022.
Oh boy.
The City of El Paso Chief's internal auditor said he found Hernandez's card use excessive. Oh, so
You think
I guess it wasn't.
maybe a little excessive?
I guess maybe she didn't have access to.
She was
battery
probably driving
generator.
like an Abrams tank, or
Maybe.
I figured they would have at least a one-cylinder car, if not electric. You know.
So here's the part that's actually kind of funny. A person called KLAQ and said that KVIA aired a clip where she told us that she was the only one who used her gas card, but they actually have her husband on video filling up his truck with her gas card.
A gas guzzling truck?
What? How can that be? No, that's impossible. But anyway, it was kind of interesting because, like as this said, she racked up $6,700 in gas, and they noticed that it was a huge difference between what she spent and the rest of the council members spent. So, like, it kind of raised eyebrows, like, whoa, what's this? It's like a very excessive amount of gas. But
What the?
an ethics complaint was actually filed, and she ended up paying back that money. And now they've actually changed the policies locally where they're not issued gas cards anymore. They have a totally different system of managing that. I think they have like some sort of a stipend system going on.
Oh man.
But I don't know. That's
Wouldn't that be the same thing, just in extra steps?
I,
Stipend
I think it's limited now. Like where
at the very least. Well, yeah, because we were using the honor system. Obviously, that does not work anywhere. There's always going to be somebody that ruins it. Like, that's why, like, oh my gosh, we have to do communism and socialism for everybody to be equal. Guess what? There's going to be people who are going to take advantage of that and screw everyone else over.
I'm still just
Baffled?
baffled that these guys even use gas.
Well, if we take into consideration, quick calculation, my sedan for one person, $42 a week.
How much?
$42 a week.
You know what? I was doing the
Times
math.
52, and that comes up to $2,184. That's not taking into account the fluctuations in the gas. Sometimes it's
Well, see, I was doing the math differently. I was like, about $50 a week times 4 weeks. That's $200 times 12 months, about $2,400.
and so just to recap this
And you know what? And I'm against electric cars. I'm pretty sure she's for electric cars.
Mhm.
And I mean, look at who wins. Anyways, but I'm pretty sure it's tough. Something like that. That was the system. But anyways, I'm pretty sure it must be tough. You know, being a city rep, you have to drive all over the place. You know what I mean?
Well, what you could do is just rent a horse, maybe.
Man, you just love that soundboard, huh? You were looking for an excuse to
Ride the Sun Metro bus. Give everybody a bus card.
Oh,
You know?
Oh man, that's
Promote
genius.
city transportation.
Yes.
I
makes
mean,
more sense.
Why aren't you running for council?
promote city transportation.
That's genius. So
You'll get reprimanded and fired the
Yeah.
first day. You're like, what the heck?
Hey, you can't promote the bus.
We should call it SCAD again.
And paint them brown instead of blue. Yeah, this is the city buses used to be brown and white when I was a kid. Anyways, that's oh man,
That's
I
many,
think
many
I just,
moons ago. Many
I
moons
just gave my age
before.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure nobody could tell.
Yeah, that's good.
so.
Many
Please
so
tell me
many
it stops
questions.
there, right?
The what?
It
It
stops
stops
there,
there.
right?
Oh no, we got.
It gets better, right?
Well, before we move on, I just wanted to mention these last points and add additional context because she is running for mayor
God.
in 2024. So I'd like to recap that she did pay the $6,700, And then just to finish off this article right here, it says the El Paso Ethics Commission found she violated the city's ethics code in July of 2023. The commission issued a letter of reprimand. The El Paso Police Department also investigated and said investigators could not find anything criminal in their review. So
well, all that was
yeah, a letter of reprimand.
So yeah, I don't know, just something to consider for the upcoming mayoral election.
you know, if she knows she can get away with it, she will.
I don't know.
Do things. It looks like
Maybe, I don't know.
maybe, but I mean, if there's room for doubt, then why even bother? When it comes to positions of power and people, you know what I mean?
This is actually, I wanted to add this because I think this is a very big plus. Why don't we play the clip and then we'll discuss?
All right, do it.
Meanwhile, city employees are continuing to assist with the migrant situation in our community. However, some feel that it's putting a strain on the system.
Yeah, City Council saying resources are being pulled from certain departments. KTSM 9 News reporter Shelby Cap joins us from the U.S.-Mexico border with a look at the concerns raised by council members.
Yeah, well, Andy and Natasha, city employees are being pulled from their day jobs to help with the hundreds of migrants that are crossing into El Paso every single day. And this includes employees from the police and fire departments. Now, this raised concerns for El Paso City Council member Cassandra Hernandez.
My concern is with our city services. I mean, I can't go anywhere without people saying like, hey, pull out my weeds, making sure we improve our response rates. So it is concerning to me that we are utilizing public services.
Hernandez requesting that the Office of Emergency Management be clear with City Council about what departments and from what districts city staff is being pulled from. Deputy City Manager Mario D'Agostino saying there is minimum staffing, but there is overtime pay involved.
Oh, great.
We talked about the number of people working this, it creates overtime. So when they're working assigned to this operation, they're working on this to fill their seats back on their normal day-to-day job. So the ones filling in for that on that fire truck or that ambulance or that police unit, they might be the ones on overtime that day. So that's where it's getting covered by.
Representative Hernandez bringing up concerns over what the Office of Emergency Management will do if there were to be another emergency. Now, both Representatives Hernandez as well as Isabel Saucedo bringing up the possibility of outsourcing these migrant programs. However, our city manager, Tommy Gonzalez, saying that there are concerns that come with that as to whether or not El Paso would be able to be reimbursed if we did that. Back to you.
And Shelby, what's
So I think this was actually a really good thing. I'm pretty sure the three of you would agree with me.
Well, can I interrupt? When was this from? Because I know Tommy Gonzalez isn't here anymore, right?
Can you let's check so it says a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is still going on.
So
But I think, let me interrupt again. I think it's kind of ironic that they're using the police department to aid in people that are breaking the law. You know what I mean?
Isn't this a federal issue?
Well, you know what's, yeah, I was thinking that too. You know, they accuse Texas of getting into a federal issue by sending the National Guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then El Paso can meddle in the thing that they say is a federal issue and help aid.
No, when it comes to letting people through, then that's fine.
Then that's fine. You know, you could, not even a state employee, you could be a city employee and do this, And then, I mean, seriously, the streets are in terrible condition. All these, I mean, I just can't believe that the budget is so big that oh man, there must be so much money. I mean, for overtime and to help people cross illegally. And not just that, I think it's a slap in the face to use the police department
for sure.
to aid in this. I mean, the police are. I'm sure you're supposed to enforce the law.
To uphold the law, they're being used to further break it.
Yeah, that's really a big clown show right there.
Rich.
That's just unbelievable.
But the thing is that what she did mention, the representative herself, was particularly of people not having the response times regarding
pulling weeds.
Well,
that's what
Parks and Recs.
Right. That's the the example that she gave, I'm sure it's other things, but that's like I guess that's the most common thing that people call city council for. Hey, get someone to pull my weeds.
I thought you had to pull your own weeds. Nobody pulls.
This is kind of backwards. I don't know. What
But-
did she mean by that?
Yeah, will you be sending the city landscapers to handle the immigrants?
Landscapers to handle the immigrants. That seems a little.
So the guys that pull the weeds are the ones processing now, I guess. Since no one
Well,
pull
if we
weeds?
take her by her words, yeah.
Yeah, that's just great.
All right. No. Okay.
I
Yeah. It
kinda
doesn't
question
make
that
sense.
part
What
too.
was
I
she
didn't
talking
understand
about?
it, yeah.
It makes it more and more weird. Why would she?
And you know what? If the city wasn't aiding and breaking the law, maybe there wouldn't be a. She wouldn't have to be worried about response times. I mean,
If they were being
that's just.
lawful and just stopping people from coming in, yeah, we wouldn't have this much of a problem, and she wouldn't have to be worried about
Weeds being pulled.
weeds being pulled. All the weeds will get pulled. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna have to give her a point though for bringing attention and shedding some light on that.
At the
'cause
very least,
I don't
okay,
think-
yeah, great. You pointed something out that this is a little weird. Why are we doing this?
we're pulling city resources to tackle a federal problem because somebody doesn't want to enforce the border.
And when someone else wants to take care of that problem, federal government won't let them.
And we'd have to look into. We'd have to ask her, but I can almost guarantee that when the buoys were put on, or the razor wire was put up, or put in the river, she was one of those people that were like outcrying, like, "No, you can't do that. That's not humanitarian." I can almost guarantee that she was one of those. But now, oh no, wait. Before, it was an issue, Now it really wouldn't be an issue.
But I'm sure everything she has is electric, probably. So.
On to this next clip that we found that was also kind of interesting and part of the current times. This is also another clip from KTSM. Let's check it out.
Well, they're all happy, so I'm sure this is good news for everybody. They're all smiling.
Welcome back to KTSM 9 News Today. We are joined here by City Representative for District 3, Cassandra Hernandez. Well, earlier in the newscast, we talked about the new resolution that just came into effect this weekend.
That's right. This new resolution requires all city facilities, right, that have single-stall bathrooms to make them gender neutral. Good morning, Representative Hernandez. Thank you very much for being here. I know it's early.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. All right. Well, first I want to ask you, what kind of made you start this initiative to have this ordinance in place?
Absolutely. So there are several LGBTQIA community groups and organizations that have come to City Council and have asked us, can you please help make public facilities for all public, for the entire public to utilize? And the Borderland Center for to support LGBTQ, the Mountain Star Pride Group, and several others have come to City Council, including parents with children who are trans. Parents are coming to City Council and urging our political bodies to make these facilities more neutral.
Now, just for clarification, I know we said it just before, but this isn't just for city facilities, right? Like, not stuff owned by the city. This is for everybody.
So these are for all commercial facilities.
Wow.
Back in November, City Council approved a change to what we call Title V. So we amended that ordinance, which is the Business and Licensing Permitting Division. So this is all as a matter of business permits. If you got a permit and you have single stalls and they're individual bathrooms, and they're sex segregated, meaning that there's one for a man and one for a woman. Now those individual stalls have to be transformed to single gender neutral stalls. And that is by law, and it's a law that's in effect as of January 1, 2024 for the entire perimeter of the city limits.
And tell us what happens if an establishment does not comply to this ordinance.
Well, that's why it's important to have an awareness campaign, because we don't want businesses and organizations to, maybe they're just busy, maybe they're, they don't have the personnel to help transform those bathrooms. So we want to create a no excuse environment. But before we do that, we want to notify the public that the ordinance is in effect, and if you do violate it, even if it's unintentional, there is a misdemeanor, a Class C, that is attributed to this ordinance if you violate it.
So let's say this, a lot of Texas LGBTQIA plus individuals, they face, let's say, challenges here in the state that's been well
Especially
documented.
this year.
Yeah, especially this year. It's been well documented over the past few years. Was that sort of an inspiration for you guys to start this new campaign here in El Paso?
You're gonna love
that
this.
was inspired it, but I think El Pasoans need to understand we're at a moment of evolution when it comes to social issues, like supporting trans persons, gender nonconforming people. Sex segregated stalls really bring a myriad of issues to trans persons. Specifically, evidence-based research shows that trans persons and gender nonconforming people are more likely to be harassed or assaulted in a public facility. This ordinance allows for a fundamental right, which is using the bathroom without fear of any problems. This ordinance is not just for trans people. If you are a person that has a caretaker, and your caretaker is the opposite sex of you, it's very difficult for you to go out in the public because you need significant support to go to the bathroom. A woman could not support a man in a bathroom. If you're a father and you have a young daughter, and it's very uncomfortable for fathers to go into women's bathrooms, and it's uncomfortable for little girls to go into men's bathrooms. So it'll make it easier for parents with the opposite sex child to go use the facility without fear of any, bad looks or, the well-being of individuals is really at stake here. And so that was the motivation, but we have learned that it'll support all individuals in their fundamental right to use the bathroom.
And that's
Thank
pretty
you so
much the end of it. But
Hernandez, for joining us here this
I just really love that very last part about how they try and make it seem like we look down upon dads taking their daughters to the women's restroom, especially right here we're specifically talking about single stall restrooms. When I don't know about you three, but I've never thought oh man, that guy's a total creep for taking his daughter to the women's restroom. It's what else did you expect him to do? I've never thought that was a wrong thing. Have you?
Well, it's because they're using the innocence of a kid to make you feel guilty about this.
And to justify it.
Yeah, I've always seen moms take their little boys to the restroom and stuff, and that's never been weird to me. I've never seen anybody.
That kind of stuff is understandable, but what's not understandable is making businesses within the city limits, forcing them to abide by this rule, and under threat of a misdemeanor.
Yeah. No, but she's being nice. She wants to make everybody aware right before, you know what I mean? Before they enforce tyranny, they're making you aware of the upcoming tyranny.
And for what? You know what?
Well,
this inspires me to make more of a splash about it.
She's enforcing her ideology on other businesses. That's what she's doing. She's not being nice to anybody. But I don't know if it's a single stall. I just think there's something else behind it. Or maybe I don't get it. It's so. I really think it's dumb. So a single stall restroom, right? Mm-hmm. Has to be labeled as
gender neutral. It's just switching out a little plaque thingy.
Well, maybe I don't know.
So if you have two restrooms, that's women and men. Now they can't be women or men's restroom. There's just both gender neutral.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
there's nothing else to fix in the city, right?
Yeah,
there's no potholes. There's no weeds to be pulled.
And then the whole parents with trans kids. That's another thing that really bothers me. Parents with trans kids that she was saying, actually, there shouldn't be such a thing as a trans kid. A kid needs guidance, and a kid needs to be told their sex. They need to be instructed, because if you leave a person, especially a young child, to their own devices to let them figure themselves out wholly, then of course there's going to be slips. There's going to be erroneous thinking. That is inevitable. That's why they need guidance. And a parent who, and this might just be me, but a parent who allows a trans child to carry on with that delusion instead of correcting it beforehand, or even, worst of all, maybe getting to the point of getting them some sort of treatment. All of that, I consider that child abuse, and that should not be allowed, really. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
And you know what? To me, that's I'm not even going to comment on that aspect, but I just think it's to me, it's like a non-issue. I've never seen it be an issue anywhere. And I've seen girls go to the guys' restroom before. Like when there's a line, they can't wait. They go to the guys. No one kicks them out. No one tells them they're ask them what they're LGBTQ or whatever they are. No one. It just life goes on. Like I've never seen a big deal made out of someone going to the wrong restroom. You know.
When she says evidence-based, we do have a bunch of evidence actually of problems coming from this. If it's a single stall, sure, whatever. But if it's more than one stall and it's supposedly gender neutral, what do you have? You have a trans woman, which being a man, in the women's restrooms. Like, as long as they identify a certain way, they can be there. Like we've seen that in Planet Fitness and other kind of spas where women come out and say, "Hey, there's a guy in there."
Well, not only that too, but there's actually been instances where somebody who's posing as a trans person is recording the opposite sex in that restroom. You know, I haven't seen a woman do that to a man, but I've seen a man do that to a woman.
Yeah. That's really where the most
But guys,
of the issues
you don't understand. You El Pasoans don't understand that society is evolving, and all change, for the mere being a change, is good.
We're evolving.
Well, on an
That's so
interesting
annoying.
note, we've discussed this on a previous episode too, but it seems like more and more doctors are coming out against the lunacy of drugging children and altering their chemical makeup of their body and actually potentially permanently harming their bodies. So I think that's probably something that would back up David's earlier point that there's like a ton of doctors that are finally coming out against that type of quote-unquote treatment.
I just have a problem with city people that can't handle a budget that, you know.
Oh, but now they're like,
You know,
They can't handle a gas card and use it responsibly.
Right. Whenever there's a budget deficit, that's obviously because you can't handle the budget, right? So, I mean, if you can't get that together and you're expecting people to, you know, run their business according to your ideologies, that's just
what
that's
they're
just
what
not
they're.
right.
I think I know what's going on. Then they're gonna be they're gonna pass this ordinance and then slowly and painfully make it apparent to everyone, and then start doling out fines.
Oh,
And everybody's gonna have to pay.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, now all of a sudden we have money for that arena.
which we're gonna have to put stalls in too.
We're gonna have to put stalls in.
Who knows how many different stalls and label them and make cubicles and.
All that being said,
It's
you know
been-
the biggest thing that the thing that bothers me the most about this whole thing is that they called her Cassandra Hernandez.
No.
What is that, man? I thought we were Latinos, man. I thought we were
Nopalero,
Latinos.
Chicano.
No, Cassandra Hernandez.
We're a
Por
metropolitan city on the border.
If Angel can say it correctly.
Hernandez.
She's
It just makes me
transcultured.
shiver.
It's
when you say it.
And
He's
then
transcultured.
in any case, what's a Class C misdemeanor, guys? It's disorderly conduct, criminal trespassing, simple assault, petty theft, passing bad checks, gambling, public intoxication, possession of alcohol or tobacco as a minor, driving under the influence as a minor, possessing alcoholic beverages in a motor vehicle, possessing drug paraphernalia, bail jumping, leaving a child alone inside a vehicle, and illegal use of laser pointers, for example. For example.
So she's gonna, and also not having a gender neutral bathroom.
I can just imagine some 60-year-old guy at a little mom and pop burrito shop, like baking the beans and folding some burritos up.
Burritos.
Burritos. Like, and somebody just walks in there, hey, we're going to give you a misdemeanor because you haven't changed your bathroom sign. It still has a little dress on it.
But
He's
that
like,
also comes with the permits.
Oh, it's gonna come with the permits?
As in, she said it herself, that forms part of the permits that they give out to these businesses. So
Yikes.
if they find you with that Class C misdemeanor, do they have grounds of revoking those permits for you?
I don't know if it's a misdemeanor. Maybe not. But definitely there's some great potential for fines.
You know how corrupt some of these guys can be. Like, I think there was like a gym that didn't want to shut down during the quote unquote pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And so they kept on finding him every day, and like those fines just built up and built up. That's
They
how the
wouldn't
corrupt
pay.
system like can really mess people over.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another way to signal out the people you don't like. It's like you just give them fines and fines and fines, knowing full well they're not going to pay it back.
Oh, they can't. All you have to show.
Either they can't pay it or they just won't out of principle. But that's another way of like really putting your boot down on people you don't like, on businesses you don't like because they have the wrong ideology.
Or another trick is that, all they have to do is send a code enforcement, and any building, say for perfect as it is, you can always find something wrong with it.
So yeah, this is great stuff, Miss Hernandez.
Very, very, very progressive. Very self-virtue signaling.
So enough on Cassandra Hernandez.
Oh.
Let's move on to...
You have the next one.
Yes, sir. So I did a little background on him. Apparently, he used to be like a former police officer, detective. He made up his way to homicide, and apparently he had one of the better records of solving homicide cases in the department.
Is it because he did them himself?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Nightcrawler.
The funny thing was a similar thought ran through my head. Sometimes I wondered like if all these guys with like really, really stellar records, and this isn't a reflection of Joe Molina, but it's because I've seen so many different videos of the cops who forgot to turn off their little camera, and they actually record themselves planting evidence on people.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. Sometimes too, like there's people who dry lab evidence, and they have like really, really good records. Like, oh yeah, this guy worked triple the amount of cases of the second highest performer for the entire year. Like they're getting rewards. And
he's an all-star cop,
and it all ended up being
turns out it's
totally corrupt. But like I said, this isn't a reflection of.
We're not talking
Joe
about you,
Molina.
Joe, or maybe I don't know. All we're saying is this is weird.
And I thought this one was kind of weird too. But this is from El Paso Matters. Uncomfortable, intimidated, and offended. Report details sexual harassment complaint against City Rep Joe Molina. So apparently, Molinar.
Is he still a rep right now? I haven't been keeping up with city politics lately because it's just.
I think he is.
He should be.
Well,
He better be. We're looking him up.
he wouldn't do that.
Look at those eyes.
They get the most flattering picture.
So on this one, a few interesting details here. So this is El Paso City Rep Joe Molinar last fall repeatedly asked a female city employee to dance and told her that he would direct the city manager to make her dance with him after she turned him down, according to a report released by the city on Wednesday. The conduct was inappropriate and violated the city's sexual harassment prevention policy. The February 20th report by outside investigator Burns concludes. That day, the city council voted to issue Molinar a letter of admonition without giving details on the nature of the complaint. That's also the day the council voted to fire city manager Tommy Gonzalez, an effort led by Molinar and city rep Brian Kennedy. The report redacts the employee's name but details the November 17, 2022 incident during a city Thanksgiving celebration that made the employee feel uncomfortable, intimidated, and offended by the conduct. Molinar on Wednesday said he had no comment, but in the report disputed some of the allegations. The report states Molinar said he asked the employee to dance after he observed her moving to the music in her chair. He said he may have asked her one more time, but he did not ask her 15 times to dance, the report states. Molinar denied approaching and speaking to the employee after the luncheon and denied saying anything to the effect of saying he was going to have the city manager direct her to dance with him. So there's a little bit of a conflicting statement there, but
It's a he said, she said situation.
Yeah. So he ended up doing a little bit of training in the area of sexual harassment, and he has since completed that training.
Well, that's such a boomer thing to do. Like, well, come on, dance if you're moving. Come on.
That's what I was gonna say, dude. Like, sometimes I wonder too if it's just like a generational thing where.
Because I remember this one guy, a guy very close to me. He's older.
Yeah.
He got into big trouble at work because there was a pretty gal, a new gal, and it was cold outside, and she was kind of blowing on her arms, and he just grabbed her. She was holding her hands and just kind of rubbing them for me, like, yeah, it's pretty cold outside, huh? But yeah, he was just being innocent and kind of dopey. a boomer thing to do. You know, like, hey, young lady, yeah, you're cold. It's okay. And like, he honestly wasn't trying anything weird. He was just, you know, he sees a young lass that's cold, and he decided to be nice and funny about it, you know, goofy and dopey. Turns out he got into big trouble, which, okay, fine.
With his wife or?
No, with the employer.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
With his wife.
HR.
With HR, man.
And to be honest with you, like when you said that, when I first read the article, I can imagine a boomer saying something stupid like that too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh yeah, if you don't dance with me, I'm gonna get the city manager as a sarcastic like joke, comment. You know?
Like, that's really gonna happen. Like someone.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't take that threat seriously.
Yeah, me neither.
But I mean, I wasn't there, so you know.
And for different generations, it's a little bit different because I don't think the four of us would say something like that because we probably know it's like kind of cringy and weird. But like I could totally imagine an older gentleman like Mr. Molinar saying something like that, you know. But
I see that.
I mean, he's gotten the retraining, so hopefully now he knows a little bit more about the millennial generation. So
do the re-education camp.
He came out with a little slug on his head.
So he won't make the same mistake at the next Thanksgiving party.
If there is a next Thanksgiving party.
You know, those company parties.
You know they get cray, especially
cray.
in office situations.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
It's neither here nor there.
just behave at those Thanksgiving parties, guys.
You never know who's gonna be all
Christmas parties.
Just don't be awkward.
Yeah, there you go.
Just yeah.
So on the next
You know
one,
what? Just stay home.
we have another article of Joe Molinar.
Yeah, something a little more substantial.
So in this particular one, I think this is another thing that El Pasoans were pretty divided about and felt really strongly about. But in this article right here that we're looking at, it is from kfoxtv.com. The article reads, Rep. Joe Molinar, Rep. Brian Kennedy previously expressed criticism of city manager role. For a week, KFOX 14 has been pressing El Paso City Mayor Oscar Leeser and City Council members Joe Molinar and Rep. Brian Kennedy to explain why they voted to fire City Manager Tommy Gonzalez. Molinar and Kennedy sponsored the agenda item to take action on Gonzalez's contract at the February 20th City Council meeting. Because they won't elaborate on their decision, we look back at what Molinar and Kennedy said about the city manager position when they were campaigning for office in 2022. Contrary to what is going on now, they had a lot to say about the position. Kennedy and Molinar both have a section on their campaign websites outlining their stance on the city manager position and the contract extensions. Kennedy said City Council was not holding Gonzalez accountable for the way he distributed city money. He was also critical of Gonzalez's previous contract extensions. We are talking about benefits that are outrageous for anybody, said Kennedy. I think the City Council is irresponsible with the contract they put out there, which I think the four of us will agree with it 100%. It's bad business to give a whole bunch of benefits this far out to the end of the contract. They shouldn't have done it, and I won't, Kennedy told El Paso Matters. Molinar also said during the campaign he had his own issues with the city manager position. I do not like the way the city of El Paso has been operating for several years now under the city manager type of government. It seems like big-name developers are getting what they want, and the people of El Paso are being left out, said Molinar.
Yeah, basically.
So I guess that's a good place to end on the article. There's a few more things, and we're going to post all the links.
The kind of perks that Tommy Gonzalez was getting, it was outrageous. Like, he was given special vouchers to go out to Dallas for medical stuff. Why don't you just why can't you just take care of it here if you really want to be, an El Pasoan? I guess he didn't trust any of our hospitals, or I don't know. Like, it's so ridiculous. Just little things like that. All these perks that were so expensive, and then his salary was like upwards of $400,000 a year.
I think he was getting paid more than the president of the United States.
It's ridiculous.
Well, actually, hold on, because the presidents make a lot of money off of.
No.
They make a lot of sweet deals.
Yeah,
salary.
Official salary. Yes.
There you go, salary.
With all the crooked deals and a lot of presidents that are now they're sitting there are doing
quite well.
Yeah,
they do quite well for themselves. Yeah. Especially if you write like 15 books just talking about me.
Not even, dude. Just give a 30-minute speech for $2 million, and that's how Russia bought off Hillary, right? No one's worth what is it? A couple $1 million for a 30-minute speech.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's so ridiculous. And then to get rid of him, they had to, to get rid of his contract. What was like $900,000?
They just haven't worked to finish destroying the city.
Like, who the heck works all these contracts, man? We gotta figure out who this is, and we need to replace him. Acevedo, he's really good at hiring people. Maybe he can hire a female who's really good at doing some really good contracts.
Or a trans
female.
Trans female.
That's really good at contracts and making sure that the city doesn't get messed over with.
And seriously, it doesn't even matter trans, female, or whatever, male, or whatever they, I don't know all the terms. Just smart people up there, man. So smart.
At the very least, that's like bare minimum.
I mean, who gets fired with twice of their yearly salary? Who?
That's disgusting, and it makes me sick to my stomach that happened.
I mean, who works up these contracts?
El Paso is like one of the poor cities, like overall, and we're paying this guy even better than some of the big name cities in the entire state of Texas. And
when they brought it up, they kept on saying, "Well, we can't. We have to pay more, so they won't take him away from us."
Right? What has he done? What has he done really? That was so great.
I think he balanced the budget, no?
Did he?
I think one of his biggest selling points was that he refinanced some loans that ended up saving the city a lot of money. But I mean, refinancing, I think you could get
funneled back into his salary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you could probably get like somebody who is like really smart with numbers and contracts and
like Acevedo.
And I don't think it was necessary to pay him like $500,000. Like that's to me, I think that's a little absurd.
And then in El Paso, this happened. I know we've had a city manager for us. I think it started with Joyce Wilson or whatever, but that was the original one, right?
I think so.
But even then, like El Paso, I mean, that was always the mayor's job, to run the city. And then it's like they say, they get these unelected bureaucrats to do stuff without the pretty much
the say of anyone,
without the citizens, knowing.
Oh no, this is great, guys. This is great. We're really moving into the.
Hey, we're evolving. Direction. I mean, I just saw your tail fall off of your back as we spoke right now.
Oh no, I'm not reptilian anymore.
Because you walked in crawling and now you're standing upright. I mean, you evolved right in front of me, man.
I was never reptilian.
Right now, when he blinked, you saw his eyes. He's a reptilian.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dudes, man, this is upsetting. So these are the guys that are running the city.
They're evolving quickly, man. The evolution rate is just phenomenal.
Like there's this huge.
It's like what took billions of years, the city's doing it in seconds, man. That's how fast we're evolving.
And so the last article that I wanted to bring up with Joe, El Paso City Council votes 4-3 to scrap downtown arena in Duranguito by Tony Davis. I thought this was like another plus for
Is that what they're going to turn Duranguito into? I'm down for that.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
That's an advertisement.
Dude, turn El Paso into a desert oasis, huh? After hearing public comment for nearly 4 hours Tuesday, the city council voted 4-3 not to build a controversial downtown arena or multi-purpose center in the Duranguito neighborhood. Am I saying Duranguito correctly?
Duranguito.
No. Duranguito neighborhood, and instead build it elsewhere in the downtown footprint. The city council opened the new year by revisiting the decade-old debate over the arena, which has pitted some vocal opponents against the city government. The council, with 3 new members, decided to scrap the Duranguito project. City reps Alessandro Anello, Joe Molinar, Art Fierro, and Chris Canales voted to abandon the Duranguito site, while Cassandra Hernandez, who we just previously spoke about, Isabel Salcido, and Henry Rivera voted against the move. Brian Kennedy abstained. But I would like to say specifically about Joe. He seemed to be against like eminent domain and just pretty much calling that Duranguito area condemned and like pretty much taking that land to go ahead and repurpose it for other purposes. Like for me, I think removing those people from like their homes, I think they've been there for generations and generations, to build like some sort of a multi-purpose center or some other special city project is...
This is huge arena.
It's completely wrong.
Can't you think of all the activities?
All the stalls we're going to build?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know the site is big enough for all the different stalls we have to put in. I mean, David needs his own... You want your own stall, David?
Yeah.
Don't forget about those multi-spirited people, man. They need numerous stalls for themselves.
A bunch of stalls in there,
Okay, so this is from a year ago, but that's a plus on Molinar. And
I would say so.
Yeah, sure, they abandoned Duranguito. Well, they're not necessarily abandoned, but
for now. If they really want it, though,
yeah, but
they'll make it happen.
Now they're looking at the Union Depot.
I thought it was depot.
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 which is basically in the middle of nowhere.
And
It's a historic building.
But I think they were saying that they were gonna keep the building.
Oh, really?
But still, you know, it's just,
I
mean, that's
now,
not the
now
point.
they want to move the arena, the site, to in this area. Instead of scrapping the entire project altogether, this is another one of the potential, you know.
You have to think a year or two ahead. I'm pretty sure once the arena comes in, like all our taxes are just gonna, you know, go down because they're gonna bring in so much
tourism.
Too much tourism. It's gonna be like the next Dubai.
Hopefully, we can get as much rain as they've been getting over the last week.
How are they getting that rain? I wonder. Anyways.
So it's this humongous project that we're talking like $500 million to begin with.
Well, but then they always go overboard. They always say, "Oh,
no, that's what I'm saying." Just to begin with, and then it's gonna balloon after, if it ever comes off the ground.
But that's a budget that has been proposed years ago.
All right, now due to inflation.
No, well, it might have gone down because inflation is reversing.
Oh yeah, right.
So
the economy's so great, you guys.
It might
it's
also
actually down to like 350 million. No, but what we have, I think what's in the budget so far is only like 160 million or 180 million, somewhere on there.
Yeah.
So where are we getting the rest of the money?
From all those bathroom stalls?
Oh yeah.
No, they should make them coin operated, huh?
From all the
coin operated.
For example, actually turn on the tolls and the border highway.
Just turn them on.
Or were you saying, Ruben, that if we bring leagues from other cities, that they're like gold cash cows, they're golden geese,
golden goose, golden egg, or
golden geese?
That they bring a lot of profit to the cities, but why would a city give up such a big profit-making machine to another city?
Well, that's what I've always wondered when they try and sell us a team because they're going to bring all this revenue in. I always wonder, well, why would their old city let them go? You know what I mean, that's what I wondered with our local team. And you know what? I love baseball. I enjoy going to the games, but I did wonder that because I know a lot of people. It was like pretty much split. I think in El Paso, 50%. And you know what? I mean, it's cool to have a baseball team, but I always wonder because they always sold it to the citizens that it was going to be bringing a lot of money.
Yeah, but is it staying afloat on its own? Or does it need to be subsidized?
I'm pretty sure it's staying afloat on its own.
It's not being subsidized
whatsoever?
I
doubt it.
Not by the hotel organizations?
I doubt it.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about it. Yeah, I doubt it too. I don't think it's generating any profit for us, but that's something that we're going to have to... we're gonna have to research and then bring it to another episode.
Let you guys know, but yeah, it doesn't look right. The times that I've gone, it's not really that full up. I don't think
it is, man. I mean, it's cool to go see the games. People are still waiting for the benefits they said it would bring.
After how many years?
You know. So,
but don't worry, guys. We are working on that equity and affordable housing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this huge thing, it's been postponed repeatedly. But now, if you scroll down a little bit, we have here Kennedy. He's actually saying, I think now we need to decide if we even want to move forward with the project. I feel it's our responsibility for all the public interests to make sure we look at all the options available, and I don't want to have a public discussion until we fully flesh out all our options, including our option of just stopping the project. So I actually, there you go. That's actually something that needs to be on the table. And front and center, I think. Like, you know what, let's just call it quits. Let's not do this. Let's focus on something more important.
Which is actually one of the procedures of the city management, that once a proposal stays in the back burner for 10 years or more, it should automatically be scrapped. It's like there. It's in our
what are we
procedures.
Doing? We're just spending more and more money just talking about it.
And these guys can't figure. I don't know how they have to hire consultants to consult, and then make sure it's feasible. When I mean, doesn't the county or the city or whatever? I'm sure they have all these people that can do that. No, like engineers and all that. I always think it's funny when they have to hire consultants. to do this. You know what I mean?
I can be a consultant.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
man.
it's
Okay, so
good, yeah.
what's the purpose of building something like this? They call it's to increase the quality of life. What? Just endless entertainment? Like just bread and circus? Is that our goal? Just let's keep everyone entertained no matter what. Is that really what we're obsessed with as a culture, as a society?
And you know
just
what?
being endlessly entertained?
And that is good. I'm all for that, but I don't know if putting the city in debt is the right way to go about it. You know, I mean, all that stuff is really cool. I would love to see all that stuff.
Yeah, but it needs to be like privately, like
Yeah, see, it's just
endorsed and
private enterprise.
funded.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Just putting the city in debt. Like, it'd be nice to see how much the city's in debt with bonds and all these things. And the thing about it is that, like that's not going to be paid by us. It's by the kids, by the generation after us. You know, like we're putting them in debt. You know, so what I know, I had a really cool teacher in high school, and he always said he's the one that kind of got me into thinking about this. He would be like, you know what, the U.S. is kind of based on no taxation without representation, and he goes, you guys, the country's spending a lot of money on your credit card.
Yep.
So you're not being represented, but you're the one that's going to be paying for all this stuff that we're doing. And it, you know, his name was Armandari. He's really, really good teacher. And yeah, he would tell me, guys, there's the you know, we're based on taxation without representation, but we don't follow the rule because all of you guys are paying are going to pay for what we spend now, and what you guys spend, the guys behind you are going to pay. So it's like, is that kind of qualify as a Ponzi scheme, maybe a little bit?
It sure sounds like
But
one.
yeah, anyways.
Yeah, every child is born in debt already.
Which we already covered.
And every few months, the national debt guy just reminded it's going up by $1 trillion. I think it's like around 100K for every single citizen of the United States right now. The debt obligation that includes the newborns right now. So yeah,
Yikes.
maybe we need to get all that stuff under control.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I think we're kind of about done for today.
I don't know, you want to talk about your little adventure with Jordan Peterson?
Oh, I think we can. No, it's
I was
going
gonna
to take
say-
more than an hour.
Why don't we do like a post this one right here, close it up, and then for our Conservative 915 fam that's interested in like some extra bonus content, maybe we can post a separate video for that. Does that work?
Yeah.
I think that'll be cool because we're running up on the 1 hour right now.
Yeah.
So let's just wrap it up then. Conservative 915, thank you for tuning in again. We're hoping that everybody's having a great week. Have a great day. Take care of your family. And we're going to sign off. Peace.
Laters.